Well, it's that time of year. We gotta start closing down the pool. So I'm gonna start the process here. First, I'm gonna get in. It's about 63 degrees today, so this is not gonna be a pleasant swim. I'm gonna go clean off that deck over there, get all the steps out, and then we'll start adding the chemicals so they can sit there and circulate for a couple days before we get the cover and start draining it. So to take the stairs out, mine, it's literally just these 4 screws right here, and then there's like 3 or 4 filter sandbags in the bottom that help hold it in place. So I'm going to take those out, jump in there, move them, get the sand out of there, and just lift them up, and I just store them right here on top of the deck after I get them cleaned off. Alright, so we got everything out of the pool. Steps are out, everything else. I do have a little bit of an algae problem. You can see a little green tint. Normally I would take care of that at the end of the year, kind of neglect the pool a little bit, so some algae formed. Normally I would take care of that before I close the pool, but this is 2020, the year of COVID, and I just frankly don't care at this point. So I'll just take care of it in the spring. Just take some algicide and a lot of shock, and we'll take care of that. And I'll post video at that point. So to close it down, first thing you do is put all the chemicals in. So I just went to the pool store, got a kit here, and it comes with a couple bottles of algicide, winterizing stale and iron control, a couple bags of shock, and this is like a floating thing that we'll put in when we're ready to finally close. So I'm going to put all these chemicals in, pour each bottle in, put the shock in, and then I'll let it run for a couple hours. Then I'll come back later, drain the rest of the pool down to the bottom of the skimmer, put the cover on, and not worry about it again until the spring. So the bottles, pretty easy. All right, just open it up, pop this seal, and pour the bottles in. Now to put the shock in, you can just cut the bag and just throw it out there throughout the pool, spread it out. What I like to do is take a bucket, put cold water in there. I'm going to cut these open, pour them in the bucket. Got a little stirring stick here. Stir it all up nice, try to dissolve as much as I can, and then I pour it in. Then we're going to let that all run for a couple hours. Got to go to a soccer game, and then after that, when we come back, we'll go over the next steps. So the chemicals have been circulating in the pool for a couple hours now, so now I just need to drain the water down. You want to put it so it's just below the skimmer. So if we look over, we just want to get it down. So the easiest way is to put the drain hose on the pump itself, put it on there, and I usually just put it in backwash mode, which you just big neck, push down, rotate around the backwash, turn it on, keep that water out, which for me it'll go over there, which will go into that concrete pad there, which has a drain on there. So I'm going to let that go until the water is drained. We got our water is basically drained all the way to the bottom of the skimmer. There's still a little bit left, you can see down there, but that's all right. That'll come out as we take the hoses off. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plug this guy up. So just take this, turn it, comes off all one piece. Set that off to the side. Then I'm going to use this plug here. What you do is as you tighten this nut, this expands and it makes a nice tight seal. So just take it here, stick it in as far as I can, and I start tightening this little wing nut on here, and it's nice and tight in there. It's not going to come out all winter till I loosen it. So now we can start taking all the pump stuff apart. All right, my pump is a little different. I have an inline chlorinator, which is right there, instead of the floating one out there out in the pool. Went through a couple of them, kids playing, broke them, so I went to that. I also have this little manifold thing up here that I made a couple years ago, where this one goes out to the sprinklers. I have an old sprinkler system that runs and shoots water into the pool, and this one goes out to the little hillbilly heater, which is just those black coils over there. The sun heats up the water, and you can kind of see it over there. It shoots it back in. It seems to do some. I don't think it does a lot, but a couple degrees here or there is what you're looking for. So first I'm just going to take off all the hoses. To do that, I use my power drill with a 5/16 head on it, and I'm just gonna go right on there, loosen it way up, and then I'm just gonna give it a little tug here, pulls off, and set a little bit of water's left in there. That'll happen on every hose, so don't worry about that. But I am going to leave this one on here because as water fills up the skimmer, I want it to go down this hose and out kind of away from the pool, so it's not just eating and eroding away from there. So I'm going to go around, I'm going to take every one of these off and the hoses off, and then I always store them in this little outdoor box that I have here. Alright, I got all the hoses off. As you can see, except I kept that one on like I said I would. So there's a couple other drain spots back on the side of the tank. I have a sand filter, so this is a little drain here to drain the tank. So I'm going to take that off. And some of the water's going to leak out. There'll end up being a bunch more in there. And then on the bottom of the pump itself, there is a nut here. This is a drain nut. So take that out. That can drain. I'm putting all my parts over here. I'll put them in the Ziploc bag, which I'll put inside of a cabinet to put all the pool supplies and stuff in there, so it keeps it all together, and then I have it for next year. So that's done, that's done. So now I'm going to take off this head, but first take off this gauge. Yeah, it just comes right off. Unscrew it and drop it. And then this little glass thing here, you take that off. So with all that off, now I'm going to take this head off. Now in the winter I store this head and this stuff. I store all this stuff in the shed to kind of keep it up. So to take this head off, it's a ring. So you got one on this side and you have one on this side here. So I'm just going to go on this side here, and I'm just going to loosen it pretty much all the way. Alright, so the collar's nice and loose. Take it straight up, and there you go. Put that off to the side here. Yeah, it's got a little bit of debris in it, but that's alright. And you can see in your tank, the sand tank, there's still you know, a lot of water and stuff in there, so that drain on the back is probably a little clogged. So I'm basically just going to pick it up and tip it over, and I'll get back to you. I pour all the sand off to the side, and I take a shovel and I just kind of put it around the pool or any holes or anything that I have. So I got that all emptied out. Basically just dump it over, pour it out. I got a big pile of sand now. And then this guy here is the actual water distributor. That goes down here, and you know, that head goes on top of it. To get it out, when you first get it, when you reach in there, those will be down like that. So all you gotta do is push it up, and it's up, and you can pull it out. I'll give the hose and give these all a good thorough flushing. You know, try to get all the sand and stuff out of it for winter storage. So we go back over to my pump area. Yeah, basically done now. The tank's gone. You know, that pump I'll leave out for the winter, and hoses are all packed up. Everything's ready to go. Just need to put the pool pillow on for the ice dam and put the cover on, and we'll be done for this year. So we laid out what we need to cover the pool with. Over here on the left, you can see that's the cover. It's all folded up. We'll roll it out here in a few minutes. And then over here is the pool pillow. You always want to use a pool pillow because as the pool water freezes, it expands, and without the pool pillow in there, it could blow out the side of your pool. The pool pillow allows that ice to expand and contract. So I'm going to go blow it up. I use a air mattress fan to blow it up with, and we'll check back here in a minute. Right, so I have the pool cover laid out on the ground with the side that's going to go against the water up. Here's our blown up pillow. You don't want it super full, just enough. You know, you want a little bit of play in there so that the pressure can expand and contract. You also notice over here's the air hole. I cover it up with duct tape. That's just so if there's pressure on here, you don't have to worry about that popping out. or leaking air, and it gets that pressure on there. You never know, it could pop out, and that would be very discouraging in the middle of winter. So with this out, now some people like to use rope. You put rope on this side and the other side and tie it to each side of the pool. I don't like to do that because I've had those rip and they go, and then in the winter the pillow's off to the side and you kind of want it centered. And so what I like to use is the pillow pal, and it's Velcro, and you find the center of the cover, stick it on there, stick the other side on the pillow, and just like Velcro, you push it together and you don't have to worry about it moving around. So that's what I'm going to do now, and then we'll get ready to put it on the pool. Alright, so the pool pillow's on. It's attached with that Velcro pool pal. You kind of see it under there. You also notice that the air inlet, I have it on the top side, so you can't see it now, but it won't be in the water because I don't want that duct tape in the water. I don't want ice on it, so I put it on that way. So now we just have to put the cover on the pool itself. It's best to have a couple people, the more the merrier. Try not to pick a windy day, and I usually pick it up in the halfway mark, one person on each side. Then we'll walk over to the pool, we'll put it on, and then you just kind of walk around the pool, pulling it as it goes. There's not a real easy way to do it. You just get it on there, and you might say a couple words, but you'll get it on there. And then afterwards we'll wrap this wire on there that goes around and holds it in place, and we'll go over how to do that here in a minute. All right, so we got the cover on the pool. So the next step, I also put these little jugs on here, kind of held it, just holds it in place. I'll leave those on all winter to help it stay in place. So now we'll take the red wire that was in the package, which I laid it out on the yard just to make it easier to pull through. All you do is go around and you just lace it through. So start it in, put it through the other side, and just go around the whole time, just threading it in. And then when we're done, we'll put that clamp on it and we'll tighten it up. Alright, so we got the wire threaded all the way around. So now we take our clamp. The clamp works super simple. Put one end through here and through this little hole on the inside. The other end you do the same thing. Then you just crank it tight. So take the one end here, stick it through, line up that hole, pull that through, kind of pull it somewhat tight. Do the same thing on this other side. Put it through that hole there. Pull that one tight. So you have them both in there. And I'm just going to pull it tight and start cranking it. So pull it tight. And I'm just going to start turning. Gotta make sure they're up here. Pull it. I usually go as tight as I can. You don't want to go crazy with it. You just really just want to keep it underneath the pool part. So you just kind of crank it till it's tight. Just gonna leave it like that. And then I'm all done. I have a couple more of those bottles full of sand that I'm going to put around the pool, and it just kind of holds it tight. So it's just kind of a double thing. I use old filter sand and old liquid chlorine bottles, and then just some bungee cords, and I just kind of place them around the pool, just like I said, just to double check, just to make sure the pool cover doesn't come off. But after that, we're all done. Pool is covered, and we'll see you in the spring.